Okay, this video will be for your darts sample. This has a special pattern piece for it, so we are using this rectangular pattern piece with 2 darts marked on it. I can tell there are 2 darts because I've got a set of notches here that pair up to this drill hole, and then a set of notches here that pair up to this drill hole. These will be separate lengths of dart. So the drill hole helps us know where the tip of the dart is. The actual drill hole is 1/2 inch in from the tip of my dart. The reason for that is that this drill hole will actually get punched through. We will do it with our awl. In the industry, they typically do it with a machine. And we don't want that hole to show up on the outside of our garment. So we do it 1/2 inch in so that it lands within our seam allowance. And then the 2 notches at the bottom tell us where the 2 sides of our dart will match up. So this will be a kind of triangle shaped piece of fabric that we will sew into the garment. So marking this on my fabric, at the edge I'm going to snip to mark my notches. Small snips because we don't want them to go too far into our garment and create a hole. And then for the drill holes, I'll take my awl and stab through. Okay, so that should create a small hole in your fabric. Okay, flip to the wrong side of your fabric, and this is where we're actually going to mark our chalk, or mark our dart legs in chalk. So I'm going to go from the center, if I'm on my pattern, from the center of those 2 notches, I'm going to line my roller up with the center and connect it up to that drill hole so that I can go 1/2 inch above. So center of the notches, up to the drill hole, and then I'm going 1/2 inch above and creating a little crosshair. And that'll tell me at the center of the crosshair, that's exactly where my point of my dart will be. Same thing on the other dart, from center up to the drill hole, go past 1/2 inch and create your crosshair. Now I'm going to connect from my crosshair down to each of my notches. So diagonal line. From my crosshair down to my notch, and then same to the other notch. And then repeat that again for the other dart. Okay. So we should end up with 2 triangles drawn in chalk. Okay. Now, when pinning these, you're going to fold each one individually, so I'm just going to do one at a time. Take one, fold it right sides together so that those printed side of your fabric should be touching each other. The notches at the edge will match, so that means they'll be right on top of each other. I'm going to pin where the notches are, and then I'm going to fold it down to the center of that crosshair. Pin that, and then I can work my way down the middle of the dart. Pin through one chalk leg, and then make sure that it's coming out on the other chalk leg on the other side, so that your chalk legs are right on top of each other. Okay, then I'll be ready to stitch that dart. Start with a back stitch. So we'll start with the back stitch. And then I'm just going to follow down that chalk line until I get to my drill hole. When I do that last ½ inch from the drill hole to the tip, I want to transition off the edge of the fabric. So go diagonally down your chalk line. Then when you get to that last ½ inch, you're going to get as close to the edge of the fabric as you possibly can until you gradually go off the edge. And right at the tip should be where you sew off the edge of the fabric. Leave some tails and we will hand tie the end instead of doing a back stitch. So this is what my tip is looking like right now. Very gradual transition off of the edge of the fabric. Now I can take my 2 tails, separate those, and double knot them. Okay, so separate your 2 tails, double knot them to secure the end of your threads. And then you can cut off the excess. So that's one dart. I'm going to do the same process for the other dart. Fold it in half, match up my notches, fold down the center of the crosshair at the tip of your dart, and then pin through the middle, pin through one chalk leg, making sure that it comes out on the other chalk leg on the other side. Okay. Start with my back stitch. Follow that chalk line down to your drill hole, and then that last ½ inch I want to get as close to the edge of the fabric as I can and just gradually stitch off the edge of the fabric. Leave your tails. Open it up. Open up your tails, separate them, and you should be able to double knot them. Okay, so now we've got those 2 triangular sections of our fabric stitched. That allows for the garment to fit the body more closely. So this area up here, you can see the area of my fabric is skinnier, so that would be our waistline. So bring in the fabric to our waistline, and then it gradually releases the fabric and allows for a wider area down here, which would be for, say, our hips or our bottom. So this dart is called a fitting device. It is one of the most common fitting devices. And a fitting device is anything that helps bring in the fabric or bring out the fabric to a skinnier or a larger area of the body. Okay, the last thing we will need to do is go press these. To press any area of the garment that is not meant to be completely flat, you will need a ham. So this is called a pressing ham. It just gets that name because it looks like a frozen ham from the store. It's that shape. But it's wider on one end, skinnier on the other, and it is curved. So it allows you to press shape into a curved seam. So in this case, we need it to gradually curve out towards the tip of the dart. So I'm going to lay, and we'll use the cotton side for most fabrics. The wool side underneath is the plaid. That one will only be used for wool. So place it on the cotton side. The skinnier side of the ham is where I want the tip of my dart to go. So I'm going to place it on there to where it lays towards the tip of the dart is towards the skinny part of the ham. And then I'm going to press my dart excess to one side. If I was on a garment and the dart was going vertically, it would get pressed towards the center of the body, so center front or center back. If it was going horizontally, the excess would get pressed down. So since we don't have a reference point, we're just going to press it over to the right in our case. Separate that left and right side of your fabric so that you have a nice flat front on your dart. And then press it towards the tip. Pressing is very important because that's how you're going to get that gradual transition towards the tip of the dart. If you don't press it well, it may end up too pointy, or it may end up with a dimple at the tip of the dart, which is where there's a little area of fabric that caves in right at the tip. So press that, and then from the front it should be completely flat on that seam line, and towards the tip you should have a nice smooth transition. So if you can see, it's hard to see with this print, but there's a transition right here from seam into plain fabric. So nice smooth transition, you can barely tell. There should be no dimple and no point. Make sure to pink the outside edges of your sample and then you will be done.